Insights with Terri Ep.207, a weekly look through the eyes of predictive astrologer Terri Ep.207. Here's Terri.
Hi everybody, I'm Terri, and you're listening to Insights with Terri Ep.207. Thank you for joining me and giving me your time. We can explore together February the 16th through the 23rd, 2023. Let's see if we can unpack this baby. Lots going on. Now, the sun sign is still in Aquarius, but that will change on the 19th to Pisces. Pisces in this position, going from that humanitarian energy field and looking at the big picture, can be a little wavy, flexible. It's water sign, so it's fluid. So we have to be really careful that we don't work against ourselves. The actual symbol of Pisces is two fish swimming in opposite directions. And that could be a problem given the circumstances that we're experiencing right now. It doesn't have to be a problem. We can make sure it isn't a problem by maybe looking at this energy and saying, well, how can I use it for good? So if we have a fish swimming and looking back, and we have a fish swimming and looking forward, that's going to give us an opportunity to look back in our history as a species and look forward in the future as a species and say, I wonder how history plays a part in the future. And is there anything that we can learn from history so that we can pull it forward and land in a little better place? If we're not careful to tame this energy, we could just be pulling against ourselves, push, pull, and not make any headway. So we have to be cognizant of that. And Pisces in Mercury, the flower of the mind and how we think and how we communicate, is going to be there as of the 15th. So that will be it's actually the day I'm creating this podcast. So that energy is very concentrated. Awesome opportunity to use our instincts, our feelings, our intuitiveness. We can do that consciously as well, not just have it pop in, ask for it. So it could put us in a real good place that allows us to say, this does not feel good. Somebody can say that somebody's teasing or just jesting, but we'll know in our heart, our feelings, what's true. And then Venus, the planet of love, beauty, and attraction, is in Aries. Aries is ruled by Mars. Mars is the god of war, the red planet, the planet of passion. So that energy in Venus could offer us the opportunity to stand up for ourselves. I'm taking the opportunity to look at some things. My experience personally with bullies, even watching the animals, there's a lot of bullies even in animals, actually probably more so. So any bully, any animal person that I've come in contact with that is pushy and a bully usually don't have a lot of skills behind them. Not terribly smart, just pushy. And I found that trying to reason with them, trying to show them that everybody could win if we would just listen to each other and compromise, doesn't work. It doesn't work with them. They don't want to hear of a solution. They just want their way or the highway. So the only thing that bully cows and bully horses and bully dogs understand would be another bully or a good punch in the nose. So that means we have to stand up for ourselves. So I've seen it where the smaller calf, gets bullied by the bigger ones and run all over and isn't allowed to eat at the stock stand. Same with puppies. The little guy's dragged all over and they keep him away from the food and they keep him away from the water, can't have the toys. But every once in a while you'll see one of those little guys stand up and just let him have it. that's the end of the problem. That's the end of the problem. So maybe with some of the bullies that we have to deal with in life, we may need to stand up to them. And I'm not against punching them in the nose. So we may have to dig deep and say, where's our strength? What will we stand up for? What's worth it to us to dig in and say, I'm not taking another step back? How do we offer a consequence to a bully? So when I'm walking in the pack with my animals aren't bullies because I don't allow it. It's a not even a thing. But when we bring in other dogs sometimes to be introduced to the pack so they can go for pack walks, they'll be the odd bully. And I don't make my dog stand up to the bully, but I do. And all I have to do is take that body language and a hard stare, maybe even a little knock on the rib cage and let them know I'm not fooling around. There is no give in me on this issue. And then the consequence, there has to be a consequence. If they're going to try to bully the other animals, they don't just get away with it and just walk away and say, well, whatever. And then everybody lives happily ever after, even though they've upset the pack or the herd. There's a consequence. That consequence is I run them off the pack. You're not allowed to be with the other dogs for a while. So I run them away from us. They can beg to come back, and it takes a while, and then I'll allow a slow entry, and then they realize if they want to be part of the pack, and they usually do, because herd animals, pack animals need community, then you have to behave. So there's a consequence. So when we have a bully bullying us, and we just let them do it, and then maybe say, well, then if you do that, I'm going to do that, but doesn't experience a consequence, what stops them from doing it over and over and over again, or to keep at it? So that puts the lesser statured people at a disadvantage. So we may have to look in our lives, our relationships, our own relationships, what we're experiencing at work, in our home, in our politics. What consequence are the people around us going to experience for pushing too hard, unjustly, and unfairly? Now, I am so proud. I have not felt this proud in so long. I think I felt it when I went visiting Europe, and everybody thought Canadians were amazing. And it really brought my sense of I'm so fortunate to be a Canadian. But I am proud of us. We've stood up. It is making a difference in the people that have left their Florida and their Arizona homes. A number of them are selling. The airline trips from Canada to the United States are down 42%. Oh, Canada, you're my hero. I see people in the grocery store as I'm watching them really study, is this a product of Canada or is this made in Canada? I am so proud of all of you to do this, and it's going to start making a difference soon. Good for us. Good for us. I'm so happy. So on that note, our planet Mars has been in retrograde in Cancer, which is a loving energy, a compassionate energy, an energy that allows us to discuss things, try to compromise, love each other. Let's all be friends. And it going retrograde, it will be going direct on the 23rd of this month. And it'll still be in Cancer, which will position us to be kind and supportive and loving, and the family will take good care, loyalty, family dinners would be wonderful. But I'm looking at it a little deeper than that, and what I'm seeing is that family, our roots, our ancestors, our pride in our culture, even though it's diversified, it going direct will offer us more loyalty to our country, our flag, our people, our family, will make us fall in love all over again with our history. So I'm so excited that the planets are going to support so many things that we need right now. I'm really, really excited about that. Now, the beginning of the week, if you have a vulnerability in kidneys, bladder infections, things of that nature, just take extra care because that's a vulnerable energy field. Is the bladder, the urethra, the kidneys. Just be real careful around that area, or any of the regenerative organs, which are our sexual organs. So just be careful in that area, that if they're giving you any grief, that's probably because they're asking for help. Towards the end of the week, we may develop some vulnerabilities in the liver, the hips, the thighs, the sacrum, and our joints more towards the end of the weekend. So just maybe don't eat inflammatory foods if you can this week. Watch what you're eating. Anti-inflammatory foods would be good. Top up on that turmeric or glucosamine and chondroitin. There's so many things that are anti-inflammatory. We can really get the books out and take a look. Thank God for Google. It helps us. It helps us. And the number 9 was given to us, and it's an idealistic number. It wants us to make an idealistic approach towards our surroundings and our situation. But when we combine that with where the planets are, what we need to do is know what would be perfect, what would be good as an idealistic society, but also the strength to move forward, that airy strength in Venus, to do what we need to do, to take on the responsibility, and realize that there's a depth of wisdom in us. So we are being moved by the universe to truly look at our circumstance in love, and to want to find the truth, to develop our friendships that are aligned with our ways of thinking. And it doesn't mean that we're going to cuddle ourselves and not allow ourselves to look at the other side. But sometimes when we have somebody in our midst that's cool-headed and level-headed and can validate us, and we are friends with that person, they can help us in our resolve in what we need to do. So take it on a bigger kind of picture, maybe Canada needs to develop more friendships in other countries that are more aligned with our moral fortitude, our moral attitude, our sense of decency and justice. So this might be an amazing opportunity for us to diversify and find other countries to be friendly with, because the one that we were friendly with doesn't want our friendship and actually isn't our ally anymore, and won't be at least for 4 years unless something else happens. So this is a wonderful opportunity for us individually to develop our friendships, new friendships that are aligned in what we have as far as our goals are, and our country. I love it. I love it. There'll be a strong need in us with the number 9 to maybe volunteer or to give some of ourselves to others. And we're in the process of fulfilling and closing cycles, readying us to advance to our next stage. Awesome. Now, what we have to be careful of, really careful, the weakness of number 9 paired with this is a tendency to have delusions. So that's scary, especially during this time. It's extremely emotional, especially when we have Mars going from retrograde to direct in the same planet, and it's a weepy planet, so that's a water sign. Cancer's a water sign. Pisces a water sign. We have Pisces in the sun sign. We have Pisces in Mercury, and we have the water sign Cancer in Mars. Expect some water with that. And so we may be victims, if we're not careful, of extremely emotional reactions to situations. We could get moody, and some of the reactions that we have could be exaggerated for the situation that we're in. There'll be emotional stress and a tendency towards that. So just, just take a look at yourself and saying, is this right? Mental excess can be part of the weakness as well, because we won't stop thinking and we're pressured. We're really pressured, and we've got that Scorpio energy in the moon on Tuesday the 18th, and that's a water sign. And that can be in the position that it is dark, meaning not evil, just deep, dark, deep thinking, seeing the evil, not being afraid to look evil in its face, and then come up with a solution, which is hopeful for me. So it's kind of an interesting energy field, I find, when I look at all these planets. Just quickly, some of the cards that came up is for us to be prepared that there's going to be some very, very difficult situations for some of us, maybe all of us. The 10 of Swords came up, and Swords is the mind, and 10 indicates a very, very hard circumstance that can challenge us and maybe make us feel like we've lost all the ground that we've attained, and it can really put so much pressure, mental pressure, emotional stress on us. We're in the middle of the rite of passage, so many of us are on an emotional journey, a mental journey, a physical journey. So we're moving from one set of rules, so to speak, to another set of rules. So our goals are going to change. Our self-understanding is going to change. How we look at our world, how we've trusted certain things, finding out that it wasn't worth the trust. So it's a difficult energy field. On that note, the trust, if I could just bring to your attention really quickly, it's a little political. I'm sure you'll indulge me for a minute, please. The ministers, our MPs, are going to increase their salaries between $8,000 and $16,000 this year. They did the same thing last year, and the year before, and the year before that, and the year before that. So they've been doing this 4% increase on their pays that they vote for, 4.2% if you want me to be exact, on April the 1st. So I'm trying to educate us in that we are $1 trillion in debt, and us taxpayers are struggling to afford our basic necessities. I mean, when we have to, decide that we're going to have rough toilet paper instead of smooth one because it's cheaper. And the MPs are giving themselves raises like this every year, at least since 2020, 4% on everything. I don't think they deserve that raise. I really don't. They've been off of work for so long. They're in neutral. I don't, as a taxpayer, I do not agree with this at all. And I think we need to stop them from rubber stamping their pay raises. So a backbench, it's like nothing, a backbench MP salary currently is $194,000 and $1,990. Oh, I can do this. $194,600. A minister, just a minister, collects $287,000 and has 500 employees. The Prime Minister gets $389,000 in change. And on April 1st, that goes up 4%. And I don't know if I feel in my heart that they're worth it, that they're doing the work to be worth it. So their total increase in salary since 2024, since 2020, has been $23,800 for an MP, $34,900 for a minister, and the Prime Minister $47,600. So the average annual salary of a full-time worker is about $67,000, according to Statistics Canada. The House of Commons, they're making $211,000 a year. The House of Commons is just supposed to be what it is. Commons. They were supposed to be made out of us, common people. So the House of Commons makes 3 times the salary that the average person makes. How can they even understand us? How can they understand what we are going through? So I think we need a voice. I really do. I really, really do. So there's a group that is the Canadian Taxpayer Federation. And if you need that address, you let me know and I'll get it for you. But all you have to do is Google taxpayer.com. And if you want to go to their salaries, at the bottom of the page, you can see where there's an email, and you can put your email in there, and they let you know everything that's going on that is important to a taxpayer. I think we need to, I think there's a movement. I think we've had enough being stepped on. I really do. And so maybe in our little way, our little Canadian way, with all the planets where they are right now, maybe this is something we should think about. Maybe this is something that we should take seriously. Maybe it's something we have power that we can change. They could at least hold their paycheck raises for 1 year. If we're going to suffer with the tariffs and do without, you know what? They're Canadians too. So let them work on it. Alrighty, if you hear a bump, it's because I fell off my soapbox. I'm sorry. Well, no, I'm not sorry. I am not sorry. I hope maybe I've lit a fire under somebody, even if it's just one person. So let's maybe get collective and do something about it, shall we? And we just might make a difference here. Now, on the note of gratitude, I would truly like to thank Charlie O'Brien for donating to us his time to put this up on all of the podcast platforms and putting it up. It takes him a long time. He edits, he cleans it up for me if the dogs are barking in the background or the birds are birding. And he puts it on Spotify podcasts, on Apple iTunes, Amazon Music Podcasts, SoundCloud, YouTube. He's created the website, www.terriworld.com, and archived 4 or 5 of the last podcasts in case you've missed them or you want to go over them again, or there's some information that you might possibly want to revisit. And if you would like to help him, I think there's just a little bit of time left for him. He's got a GoFundMe page for Big 8 Radio, which is the music of all of the classics, the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, all the oldies. And anything would be so, I'd be so grateful for that, and so would he, to keep that radio program going. Even $1, it all helps. It all helps, and I know we're all strapped. It's hard for all of us. So thank you, Charlie, for all your work and helping us stay on top of things. Thank you for listening and taking your time. I'm so grateful that you have, and awestruck that anybody even listens. And if you need me to help you with your animals in any way, shape, or form, or a reading, I'd be happy to do that. Text or call 519-726-6699, or you can email me at terri.coutts@gmail.com. Thanks for checking in. Have yourself a wonderful week, and I'm sure we'll talk soon. Bye for now.
Thanks for listening to Insights with Terri Coots. Visit Terri's website at terriworld.com. TERRI world.com.